Like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Long as I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. Sports coma, yeah, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Sports coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Somebody please better help. Running this thing like Elf. I thank God every day I'm not a felt. Go to YouTube Live with Big Q and the guys. If you ain't ride or die, the bandwagon get flipped. Been marching in, that was way for the ring. I was yelling out your shame for the championship. Fucking on town, duck down. Falcons, pluck, get shut down. Panthers ain't much touchdown. The vision really belong to us now. So much hate on the Saints, you could probably tell. Ever since Bounty Gate hit the NFL, when things seem fishy and you probably smell the crooked referees or Roger Goodell. Yeah, like this and I'm a who that. Every day I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. It's the sports coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. It's the sports coma, this is where we do that.
You're listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys on the PRO Media Network.
All right. Shout out to the fam, man. Appreciate y'all for joining for this episode of the show. And like I've been saying for some time now, welcome, welcome, welcome. You're now rocking with the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys, where we have intense, entertaining, educating, and enlightening sport talk from your favorite sports fam. What's popping, fam? Shout out to you guys. Appreciate y'all being in the live. We up in this thing, man. Late streaming, man. Shout out to the fam. Appreciate y'all, man. We're going to kind of go over this Monday stream. I know I'm running at y'all pretty late, but it's we're gonna get it in. All right, shout out to you, T Mama, and the rest of the fam. Good to see you, sweetheart. Much love to you. OG in the building as well. Elite, good to see you, sir. Brother Brian's in this thing as well. Good to see you. Who that? Gregory, how you doing, sir? Appreciate you. Much love to the fam, and hope y'all having a good start of y'all week. We up in this thing. Josh, how you doing, sir? Appreciate you. Jerome, how you doing, fam? Appreciate you. Much love to y'all for chiming in. So the Saints making a few moves. What's up, Pammy? How you doing, Queen? Appreciate you. All right. All right, I got you. All right, yeah. Yeah, Saints making a few moves. We're gonna go over some stuff today, family. The Saints inking, Saints are inking or have inked edge rusher Jason Pierre-Paul. We know him all too well from his time with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, with the Giants. Last year, he's with the Baltimore Ravens. We'll go over that. We'll also react to Dennis Allen's Monday press conference and other news and notes as well. So we'll jump in here and kind of run at it and kind of recap it. But not too much during the overall point on this game from yesterday. I just want to add a few things to it. And listen, you know, I think we covered it pretty good on the post game yesterday. What's interesting about the Saints is, and it's just unbelievable how we lose to teams that you're not supposed to lose. And I just think it's absolutely ridiculous. I think it's, what's up, 504? How you doing, fam? All right. Yeah, I think it's a pretty decent sign. And the Saints recognizing that one of the needs to get some more pass rushing help, man. They really need some help there. So Jason Pierre-Paul is, I think he's 34 years of age. He had 3 sacks last year with the Ravens. It's been a couple of years since he had like an 8 or 9 sack season. But Pierre-Paul coming in as a situational guy. Now, Cat Terrell did tweet that they signed him to the practice squad, but JPP probably more than likely will help out in the pass rush assignments, which will be good to have another bona fide edge rusher there. And I know he's past his prime, but still in all, man, we need help. And that's a part of the game with the Saints. They're not generating enough pressure that converts things into sacks. We're not getting there. And I don't know what took them so long to do something about it. It took them a long time to do something about it. But then again, is Dennis Allen. Dennis Allen reacts to everything late. He doesn't make adjustments he's supposed to make, and it's what it is. The guy is not, and we saying this over and over again. This was a bad hire, Mickey. But these guys are so puffed up, full of pride, and I think it's more than pride; it's money. That's why they hit his contract. I'm gonna keep reiterating that over and over again. The contract is not public. People are estimating or guesstimating what the contract is, and they're saying it's 30 to 40 something odd $1 million for a 3 or 4 year deal. That's guesstimation. They don't know how much the contract. They don't know how much it is, and they don't know how many. They don't know how many lengths on the contract. But that's not the point. The point is the contract is not public because they don't want you to know how much they paying them. If it was an average contract for an average coach, then there is no need for you to hide an average contract. It's above average. That's the point. So it's also a reason why they're going to excuse let to hold on to get the Dennis Allen. But the point is Dennis Allen will not lose enough for them to fire him. Like, he won't bottom out and he won't win enough. So the team will middle around. I said this at the end of the game. I said this prior to this, when this season starts. Like, he is a middling coach. He's an up or down coach. He lacks discipline. He lacks consistent focus. And people could say, Q, you are hard hitting on the dude, but I'm just keeping it. I'm telling the truth. And I'm not putting anything on Dennis Allen that I don't see. Dennis Allen is not a head coach. He's a defensive coordinator who got this job because of the influence of the previous coach, who told the general manager, who was supposed to have a brain, and says, you know what, now let me try something else, as opposed to not wanting to change things for the better. They all wanted to keep the same. That's dinosaur mentality. You got to bring some people in here that has some innovation. And then, of course, Sean Payton's he's doing a few things better in Denver. He won tonight on Monday Night Football, and he has won 3 games straight, but he's still sitting in the cellar of the, AFC West. But beyond that, it's just what it is. And the team is exhibiting the energy and the idea and the identity, rather, of the guy that's the leader of the team, if you want to call him that. So the team loses to people. This was a starless Minnesota Viking team that the Saints lost to yesterday. A starless. Jefferson was not there. Kirk Cousins, who usually tear you up, wasn't there. And what was the running back we couldn't stop? He wasn't there. He was with another team. He's with the Jets. What was his name? Man, I forgot the running back. Y'all remind me in the chat. The running back that always tore us up. But we had a second and third string ass running back running all over you, and a quarterback who just came over there from the Arizona Cardinals in the trade deadline, threw for over 260 yards or so and a touchdown, and ran for you. He had a second and third string back, Ty Chandler, running around on you. So it's just ridiculous, man. And then the reality, the slippage shows you, okay, if you could kind of look at it and say, well, Pete Carmichael and them need to get this together. But how do you explain the defensive slippage that happened in the first half of the game when the Saints allowed 24 points to be scored on them and the offense didn't do a damn thing? Goose eggs like a dog. And then the second half, Jameis comes in because the other guy gets his block knocked off. Saints put up points but couldn't bridge the gap. Ronnie Lamarck. I mean, it's interesting, man, at the end of the day to see how it all happens, but no changes. Several weeks back, people were saying to change. He said, I'm going to promise changes. And I'm just saying what he has done. People saying, man, Q, you hitting the guy, saying this. Man, listen, man, I don't know Dennis Allen, and I don't care to know Dennis Allen. I'm going to keep it real. I'm going to keep it real with your family. I'm going to be a who that black and gold diehard man when Dennis Allen is long gone from this team. I was here before he came here, and I'll be here after he leaves. And so would you be said the same as me. I don't care to know him. All I do know is that he's heading this team, and this team is not performing the way we expect them to perform, not because they're dealing with injury. They're banged up now, but poor, low IQ football is what's hindering this team. veterans that's been in the league 4 years, that's been involved with the Saints defense 4 years, look like they're lost. The first half of the game, they could not find a way to slow down a second. Guy was a third string quarterback when he arrived in Minnesota. He became the starter when their rookie last week, or the week when they played the Falcons, got knocked out of the game. This guy stepped in here the whole week. The point was on stopping guys from scrambling and getting plays, extending plays outside of the pocket. I played interviews from people from Dennis Allen, from Joe Woods, from Cam freaking Jordan, that all with the theme of last week heading into the game against Minnesota was stopping the damn mobile QB threat. That was the idea for the entire damn week. And how did that turn out for you? Well, Josh Dobbs at some point was the top rusher on the team. He ran for a touchdown. He scrambled outside the pocket, made several plays downfield. He extended plays. They couldn't wrangle him. They thought, man, I thought Josh Dobbs would have been around to Cunningham the way what he was doing to the Saints defense. Paying gap assignments and blitz with discipline. Once again, that went out the window in the first half. And then when they played better, the defense did stop the offense for the Minnesota Vikings, but then our offense could not bridge the gap. They couldn't get further enough up the field. And we had several opportunities. They didn't run out of time. We had several opportunities to get the game in check, but the turnovers, the interceptions, ultimately, and I'm like, you know what? You don't deserve to win. You know, you played pathetically in the first half and was down that much, and then you start turning the ball over, drop passes, blown blocking assignments, stupid, unbalanced play calling when it's just pass, no running, no mixing of the run in the second half, poor clock management, every and anything you can imagine. But you lost it. Could you only imagine if Kirk Cousins was healthy and they had Justin Jefferson there? Could you imagine what this Minnesota Viking team would have did to the Saints' pathetic ass yesterday? This was a starless Viking team led by a guy that just got there 2 weeks ago. Looked like he's been there the entire season. He played a better game than what Kirk Cousins would have did. It's almost like Kirk Cousins was actually still out there throwing the ball. And it's just what it is. It's pathetic. It's pathetic. But in the end, looking back at the game, and I care not to go over the stats. We looked over the stats and did that yesterday. All I want to say is going into the bye week, do they get this fixed? Well, they got some time to bring JPP in here to try to help out. Now, how does Jason Pierre-Paul help the Saints out? He's a little bit older than what we remember, but still in all, he's a guy that possibly can come in and do some stuff. So let's look at this as it was written here. So shout out to Niles, who did write the article for us. Saints Ink edge rusher Jason Pierre-Paul. And the Saints have made a significant move to bolster their defense by reportedly signing veteran edge rusher Jason Pierre-Paul, as per Josina Anderson of CBS Sports. The acquisition comes after JPP, a 3-time Pro Bowler and 2-time Super Bowl champion, showcased his abilities in a workout for the team on Monday, reported by Mike Garofalo of NFL Network. At 34, Pierre-Paul brings a wealth of experience, a notable track record to success to the Saints defense. In 22 season, Baltimore, he was with the Ravens. He started 13 games, contributing 3 sacks, 26 tackles, 5 of them for loss, and showcasing his versatility when his career is highlighted by 95 sacks in 7 seasons, with at least 7 sacks, adds a much more needed edge rusher to the Saints pass rush. The team currently standing at 5-5 has struggled in this area, tying for 25th in the NFL with only 18 sacks in 10 games. They're 25th in the NFL. At some point, the Saints was really pouring it on, and then all of a sudden it just went cold turkey. They can't get to the quarterback to affect change. The quarterback is too comfortable. Then when they start blitzing, when Dennis Allen finally starts blitzing, it's too late. The guy's already in the rhythm. The same thing happens week after week after week for mediocre quarterbacks. No disrespect to Josh Dobbs. No disrespect, but you're a journeyman quarterback who can't seem to find a starting job. Perhaps he does in Minnesota after what he's doing. He's 2-0 with the team. Kirk Cousins done for the year, and he's campaigning perhaps to be that guy. Maybe that would be cool to see. I know it'd be cool to see Josh Dobbs finally get that big opportunity, like that starting opportunity. Really intelligent cat. But this shouldn't have happened here. This shouldn't have happened, but it did. And the Saints, week after week, whether it's Baker Mayfield or what's the other guy, Gardner Minshew, these guys just run around and scramble, and it's almost like they are just given upgrades, like bionic upgrades against the Saints. Saints defense meet them in the locker room and give them bionic upgrades and boost their numbers twice as much as what they're supposed to be. The defense makes their offense their quarterback especially looks way better than what he was. And of course, the Minnesota Vikings rushing attack yesterday that put up all that yardage on the Saints. They put up 100 and what was it? 25 yards. His team was averaging less than 83 yards rushing. They were one of the bottom teams in the NFL in running the football, not against the Saints. With Dobbs, and they put up 125 yards on the Saints yesterday. Totally ridiculous. But anyway, getting back to it, 25th in the NFL with 18 sacks in 10 games, fam. That's why Paul is here. Addition to Pierre-Paul could invigorate a defensive line that has been underwhelming performances from key players like Cam, was only 2 sacks in 10 games. A stark contrast from the 10 and almost 10.4 sacks last year. And of course, he can go on a run. He did this before, so it's still a lot of games left in the year. Carl Granderson, 5.5 sacks in 10 games. So having Jason Pierre-Paul, as you can see the tweet right by here by Josina, saying that Jason Pierre-Paul just told me he's planning to sign with the Saints, and Cat Terrell notified that the team told her that they're signing him to the practice squad. So best believe when the time comes, he'll be on the active roster ready to go. So, the thought on the move to have Jason Pierre-Paul with a Saints defense that's ranked 25th in the NFL with sacks is a good move. It's a smart move. Something should have been done sooner because the Saints needed to increase pressure on these quarterbacks. The Saints sit back there and allow these quarterbacks to get going, and then they want to send blitzes at them. About time they do it, and they see the blitz coming and they tear them up, throwing the ball out on the field. They have a rhythm. Is at that point, it's ridiculous. But the defense did shut them down in the second half, but it was too late. They did enough in the first half to win the game. So how do we stop this? How do we go from being a 5-5 team? And everybody, the Falcons turn around. They lost to Kyler Murray by a field goal in the last few minutes. So they go to 4-5. Tampa Bay won. They're 4-5. Carolina lost. They're 1-8. So basically, the Saints are maintaining the division lead simply because everybody else keeps losing. And Tampa Bay, it's just, and we'll see the Falcons after the bye week, and that more than likely we'll see how that shakes up. But my confidence on this team, and people say, I've heard people have been messaging me a lot, sending me stuff. I get videos, people. Shout out to the fams, GM Kev. Good to see my dog, GM Kev. He sent me some stuff I have to look at. There's always people that sending me information, and I appreciate them sending me. I try to absorb as much as I can. So, the thought process on what the Saints are. What are we? What are the Saints? What are we? The Saints, are we just a bad team? No. We are a team that's led by bad leadership. This is what it looks like when you have bad leadership on top of a very talented team. Everybody is frustrated. Guys are playing below where they're supposed to play. And this is just indicative of what the leadership is. The guy's not a good motivator. He's not a great communicator on that level of a head coach, maybe a coordinator. He can talk to defenses. He's not involved all across the team, and he uses the model. So if somebody struggles in the special teams room and the guy does bad, he can fire him. If the offense is the issue, he can fire Pete Carmichael. So he gave him the offense, but he's not involved there, and he really don't want to be involved. That's not what a head coach is. An overseer of the team. You got to make sure everything is there. That's why I was telling them, you won't change Dennis Allen You're not going to listen. And you're basically going to do what dumbass dinosaurs do, which is just walk until you land in the tar pits and you expire. You're going to get ran off sooner or later, and you don't care. You just here for the ride. You have no sense of urgency. You don't understand what you're doing. And listen, I've never been an NFL coach, but I tell you one goddamn thing. I seen one that know what they're doing, and you're not it. I know the steps and the process it takes to win. In life, it's the same thing in football. It's the same in life. And you don't exhibit none of those steps consistently. That's why the team is a 50-50 team. It's a up and down team. It's a roller coaster team. Losing to people that it's not supposed to lose to. Losing to Green Bay was stupid. The worst loss of the season to me. Losing to Minnesota when you should have beat Minnesota is stupid. Losing to Tampa Bay when you should have beat Tampa Bay and Baker Mayfield scrambling around on you was stupid. So, I mean, it's just indicative of a sorry coach. And I'm not mad at Dennis Allen. I tell you all this all the time. Dennis Allen is not a head coach. He don't deserve that job. And I'm not saying, because nobody Dennis Allen got that job because of the good old boy circle. That's what it was. Sean Payton, Mickey Loomis, and Dennis Allen. They made a decision. It was a mockery. That's why Brian Flores was upset. And that's why the rest of those guys was upset, because you don't call me for an interview if you already got your mind made up on what you're going to do. That's a direct violation of the Rooney Rule. That's why it was put in place to stop foolishness like that. And that's why Flores, whose defense kicked the Saints in the teeth yesterday with the blitzing and everything, knocking them around, when Derek Carr was totally blind and totally out of his mind before they knocked him out of the game. By the way, it was clean. Knocked his ass out of the game and ultimately pinned the Saints down enough to win the game. Flores' defense, the same guy that you passed over. So it's these dinosaur mentalities, non-visionary people they're clouded with past successes. And that's why they sitting fat and happy off of past successes, and that's not good enough. That doesn't work with us. You have to be innovative. You have to be a person to have an imagination and be able to see down the field. I'm not saying nothing that people can't agree to and say that's absolutely right. You have to be a visionary. Mickey Loomis is part of the old timey ways. He needs to go. Mickey Loomis needs to go because I question your judgment making hires if you sitting up here telling me that this guy that's running this team is a good coach, a good head coach that's going to take the Saints to the Super Bowl. Are you kidding me? If you believe that, I want you gone. I want you out of here, and I want you to take Dennis Allen with you and Pete Carmichael with you too. None of these guys, they all lack the vision. They all lack the focus. They all lack the determination, and big of all, and most important of all, the urgency to turn this stuff around. Mickey Loomis sitting on his ass, and he's not doing anything. Even if Dennis Allen, who's half crazy, tells you that he's not making any changes and the team's struggling, trying to win games and losing and not fulfilling a potential, how do you not then get involved? You done gave them 10 weeks. Your offense still stinks. It's still sputtering. Wide receivers going to jail because they frustrated. Two of your three starting wide receivers went to jail because they. You think if we were winning games, Michael Thomas would have been bricking up them people truck, or Chris Olave would be racing through Kenner? Damn, no, they wouldn't be. That's a side effect of being frustrated, man. But he gonna sit on his ass because they collecting. That's what be telling all these people, stop going to these damn games. I don't know what's wrong with these people. Crazy. You got fanatics, and yeah, that's what it is, fanatics. And that's why I tell these people are out of their mind to keep on giving your money to these people and keep getting disrespected. Stop going to these games, man. I mean, these people are amazing, man. Amazing. Stop going to these games, man. Stop supporting these people when they're not doing what they're supposed to do. We don't support trash and funk and garbage. We don't reward bad behavior. What's wrong with these people, man? But anyway, Mickey Loomis is a dude that needs to go. Dennis Allen needs to go too, and Pete Carmichael needs to go. This team is not a team, and I don't care when they get down the line. The rest of the 8 remaining games, or how many it is, this team will be up and down, up up and down the entire damn season until hopefully they get into the playoffs. They're going to try to sneak into the playoffs with the division being where it is, and you win it by default. You go into the playoffs, you're going to get your block knocked off. You might win the South. Could you beat Atlanta twice? Could you sneak in there? You lost to Tampa. Could you beat Tampa there? So I mean, like I said, I don't really have any confidence in the leadership of the team. Now, I respect the hell out of the stars, our players that play hard, but the players can't outperform the head coach. They can't win in spite of the head coach. They can't. If they could, then we would have seen a different result last year, and we damn sure would have seen a different result this year. We're simply not seeing the results that we need to see. Like, and I understand how this goes for real. I understand that Dennis Allen is over his head. Mickey Loomis should be ashamed of himself because he should be the one in there trying to do something about this, but they won't. You know why? Because these guys are dinosaurs. They are dinosaurs. They won't do anything about this. So anyway, we know, and that's the thing that's really frustrating into this week, is that we look and we see all this stuff that's going on with the Saints and eventually turn this around and move in the right direction. But with leadership, it takes leadership to change this stuff, family. It really do. It takes leadership, and we don't have that. We don't have that could take this team and turn it around. This quarterback we have, the guy, God bless him, man. God bless this quarterback. But let me tell you something. This guy is struggling mightily. And another thing before I move on from yesterday's game, one really glaring thing that I just couldn't help but to know. Taysom Hill, where was Taysom? Taysom Hill was noticeably absent. I asked the family members, where was Taysom Hill in the game? Taysom Hill was noticeably absent. Noticeably absent in the game, especially on the back end. We could have used this rushing attack. Taysom had 1 carry for 6 yards, and he had 4 targets, 2 catches for 17 yards. He was totally not in the game. Well, why wasn't Taysom used more in the game, especially in the second half? We could have used his rushing ability in the second half when we started going, 8 or 9 straight passing plays. When we had time, I don't know, where was he at? So, and that's indicative of Pete Carmichael getting lost in the game plan again, getting lost in not using the correct plays, his playmakers in games when we need them. We kept seeing this over and over again. So at some point, we ask for change and we get no change while he's saying we're looking for answers for team. It's ridiculous. But anyway, let me go right here. Let me go to this article right here, fam. Let me read this article for you right here. Let me show this one to you right here. This is why is it looking like this? Hold on, let me see if I can kind of make it a little broader. But yeah, this is an article right here by The Wire, by the Saints Wire. Shout out to those guys. Let me see if I can there we go. And this was a great stat. Sigler does not like Dennis Allen, and I applaud him for writing. He writes really well on Dennis Allen. He covers him better than anybody in the Saints world, in the Saints writing world, and the content world. Sigler, shout out to John. He does a wonderful job in telling it like it is on Dennis Allen. And he wrote this really fantastic article. I have to share it with you guys. Then we're going to play Dennis Allen's interview today. Dennis Allen Saints have an awful record against teams with winning records. That is a sign of a garbage coach. I hate to say that, to call him that, but it is what it is. You beat sucker teams, and really he ain't beating no sucker teams. The Green Bay Packers, Tampa Bay, and the Minnesota Vikings, those teams were missing. Those teams were teams that you should have beat, especially the Vikings. The Vikings were missing Justin Jefferson, one of the best wide receivers in the NFL, and Kirk Cousins, who has a lot of success against the Saints. Both of those guys was missing. Both of those guys was missing, and the Saints still lost that game. Terrible. Anyway, let's look into this article right here. Sometimes the numbers tell the whole story. Dennis Allen promotion to the Saints head coach was met with some skepticism last year, given his poor performance with the Raiders a decade ago. But his record speaks for itself. Allen is now 12-15 as the head coach of the Saints, having lost to the Vikings on Sunday. He's 20-43 in his career. If you include his Raiders tenure, there have been 174 head coaches in the NFL who have worked 60 or more games, and Allen, 63, ranks 169th in winning percentage. He hasn't been able to guide the Saints to be have won just twice versus teams with winning records, dating back to last season. They're 2-8 with wins over Gardner Minshew-led Philadelphia. With Jalen Hurts was there, he would have tore him up. So we were fortunate in that. They still are searching for Minshew led Philadelphia Eagles in a volatile Seattle club in 22. They're still searching for a win over a team with a winning record in 23 after losing to the 6-3 Jaguars, the 6-4 Vikings, and the 5-4 Texans. And that illustrates the problem here. Allen's version of the Saints can't take care of business against bad teams, and may pull a fast one on a backup quarterback thrust into the spotlight, but they aren't competing with better teams. They lack the team discipline and creativity in play calling to maintain pace. Good squads around the league. It's disappointing turn for the franchise after years of success with Sean Payton and Breeze. But, well, the Saints knew who Allen was when they hired him. All they do was look at his resume. Very well said. This is very true about Dennis Allen, because Dennis Allen is a coach that really doesn't know what he's doing, fam. And I said this before about Dennis Allen. I said that the Saints should have never hired Dennis Allen as a head coach if they wanted Dennis Allen as a as a coach. They should have just did it if they wanted him as a coordinator. All they had to do was simply hire him as a coordinator and hire another coach if you wanted them there. They didn't have to hire him as a head coach. There was no reason for the Saints to hire Dennis Allen as a head coach. Mickey Loomis was trying to sell that BS on us. It's a shame, but the writers know and everybody's talking about it. He's awful. He's awful. And a lot of the teams that we've seen, like we've playing teams like we played the Houston Texans, that was supposed to be a win. That was a rookie quarterback, even though he's playing well. The Saints should have beat the Texans, and it's just laughable because the team exhibiting his coaching style. The guy doesn't have any discipline. He's not accountable. He's not a guy that preaches accountability. When Carl Granderson went in there and grabbed that guy's face mask like that, or what he did, Granderson grabbed that face mask. Granderson should have came out for a play or two because that was a frustration thing. Let's pull come on out, Granderson, for a play or two. Take him off the field. That's what good coaches do. When you do something wrong like that hurt the team, you can't stay out there. Come on out, man. Come on out for a play or two. Sip some Gatorade, chill out. Let me talk to you. Why'd you do that? And man, I was just frustrated, man. The guy holding me, man. They're not making a call right, man. Listen, Carl, man, don't do that, man. Come on. That's hurting us, bro. We out here fighting for every inch and yard, man. Listen. Get you a sip of Gatorade, man, on the next play or two. We're going to send you back in there. But, man, listen, you can't do that. Got me? Yeah, I got you, coach. All right. Slap him on his helmet, and then, all right, next play after that, send him back into the game. Same thing with Tyrann Mathieu. When Tyrann Mathieu did that stuff with the face mask. Man, what you doing, bro? Come on, man. Let me talk to you, man. What's going on out here? Hey, coach, I'm frustrated, man. Well, listen, calm down, bro. It's stuff like that. The coach has to be able to talk.
Huh. Okay. You a glitzy glam. Super snazzy. A real saucy boy. Dynamite. Don't I know it? Style maestro. Thanks. It's Old Navy.
All right. What the hell is that going on there, man? Hold on here. All right. It's sorry ad, man. All right. Hold on, fam. Let me get that back up. Silly ad popped on. Like, what the hell are they talking about? All right. Anyway, here we go, man. Sorry about that. Very interesting, man, to say the least. But I just don't like the fact that we have to deal with this kind of incompetence, man, from our coaches, bro. I really do. This is just really incompetent. And that it takes that. But when guys do stuff they're not supposed to do, they do not get punished. They do not. You punish them by taking them off the field for a play or two. Guy drop a pass, he comes out. Guy fumbles the ball, he comes out. You know, guy does something on the field which allows the guy to do. It has to. You can't allow that to happen. It has to be it has to be something for something that's negative, just like it's something for something when it's positive. It's praise and whatnot when you positive, and it's something else, and it's not praise when you do something wrong. You got to come off the field when you grabbing face masks and stuff like that. You got to come up off the field. None of that. He just looks right past it. Everything runs. There's no motivation. It's the same stuff. There's no changes, and it's the same crap from this guy, which is he's not a visionary. He doesn't know what he's doing, and he pretends to have a game plan. He's the worst type of person mentally because he think he has something that's going to work. Like his mentality is like, we're just going to hang in there and keep doing it till it's work. How you going to do that, bro? Unless implement and change. And lies and said we're going to make changes, we're going to switch guys around in lineups, we're going to do this, but nothing happens. It's just funny, and people are actually tired of that. So anyway, we're going to go over this little interview from Dennis Allen he did today. I know y'all want to hear it, but we got to hear something about some of this. He's going to talk about the injuries to some of our players and also and other things, and we'll react to it. Here we go. Put one in the chat, family, if y'all can hear that. And first of all, thank y'all for being here, chiming in. Brother Eric says, Q, I've been telling you that all Mickey was lying to us. Mickey Loomis, man, is a belt. Thank you, Eric. Mickey Loomis is the one I'm looking at now. I'm not even looking at Dennis Allen. Dennis Allen's out of his mind. He's over his head. And he's pretending that he's cosplaying as a head coach. This is what's going on here. He's cosplaying as a head coach. He's in character as a head coach. And I can't talk to people cosplaying. So I'm just you pretending you're in a fantasy land. You're a princess and you're on top of the mountain and everything's fluffy and pink everywhere and muffins flying around and birds come and sing next to you and lift you up into the clouds and you sing together. Yes, you're in the fantasy land. I can't, the man cosplaying. So I have to talk to the guy above him who hired him, because he won't make the change until it's very late, until it's too late, when the team can't rebound from the hole that they have dug themselves in. Then that's when he'll make the change, which shows that he doesn't have the vision or the temperament to do what he's doing, because he don't see it. He doesn't have any sense of urgency. He's still 8 games left to go. We're still on top of the division. We're 5-5. We still got to fight and win, despite the fact that the team didn't earn its position on top of the division. Didn't earn it. It's simply on top of that because other people are losing. The Saints did win 2 games in a row, credit be, but it wasn't none of the games that they were winning, they kind of struggled won those games. And you were like, well, we won, we win games, but you want to see progress. I mean, really, real progress in these games moving forward. We're not seeing a lot of progress from the Saints. We're seeing incremental stuff. You'll see them do good here, and then the next week they suffer in it. Like you'll see them run the ball well, then the next week they don't run the ball well. You see the defense play good in the first half and then don't play good defense in the second half. You see the offense do good stuff in the first half and then die in the second half. And then they put the damn kicker in there and for a 45 or 50-yard field goal shot, and people say we need to find another kicker, but don't say nothing about the quarterback that put the kicker in the position from the first place. Come on, man. You shouldn't be relying on your rookie kicker to kick 45 and 50-yard field goals when you got a $150 million quarterback that got all of his players there. Come on, man. So anyway, this is Dennis Allen, man. Let's see what the hell he got to say. Here we go.
All right, guys, go ahead.
Can you share injury updates on Carr, Thomas, and Lattimore after they had checkups today, if they've had them?
Yeah, look, Derek is in the concussion protocol. Look, the right shoulder's fine. That checked out fine today, so that's all good. Obviously, he's in the concussion protocol. Both Mike Thomas and Marshawn Lattimore both had fairly significant injuries. I'm not going to get into the exact extent, but they'll both be be rehabbing throughout the week here.
And DA, just to clarify, when you say fairly significant injuries, is there the potential for?
I don't see anything as being, season injury ending or anything like that. But we're still going through kind of some second opinions and things of that nature. So without really having all that, I really don't want to get into timelines and things like that.
Understood. Thank you. Last night we had kind of asked some questions about, the kind of slow start and what led to that. Have you been able to kind of get a little bit of a better understanding of that after being able to review the tape?
Yeah, look, I think, defensively, I just don't think we executed like we need to in the first half of the game. And that's been a little bit of a trend for us. So we got to figure out how to get that fixed. So that'll be a lot of what we'll be working on this week, and figuring out how we can and how I can get, our defensive players to perform better early on in games. And unfortunately, look, we had an opportunity really on the first drive of the game. We had a potential interception opportunity, which ended up being an explosive play. And so that's really kind of been the thing that's hurt us defensively, is giving up way too many explosive plays in the first half, and that's gotta be better. And so we're gonna look at a lot of things in terms of how we can fix that. Offensively, I just don't think we're ever really able to get into a rhythm. I think we had like 22 offensive plays in the first half. It's kind of hard to get into a rhythm that way. So, they had some, long extended drives in the first half where our offense is sitting on the sideline, and then we weren't able to really, match that offensively. And so we played a lot of snaps defensively in the first half, and we didn't play enough offensively.
It didn't have nothing to do with no snaps, Dennis. It didn't have nothing to do with snaps, man. The defense was just horrible, man. It's no excuse for a defense that's littered and loaded with as many veterans. This is Demario Davis, Pete Werner, all these guys were there. Tyrann Mathieu, Marcus May, Cam Jordan, everybody was there. Everybody. Excuse me. Everybody was there. The issue with it had nothing to do with snaps and how many snaps the Saints. They didn't even utilize the snaps that they did get. They had several opportunities, several drive opportunities during the first half to do something. Dennis Allen's quarterback, Derek Carr, could not get them going. He says, and I see what the family says, we got to do because he doesn't know. He don't know what he's talking about. He doesn't know what he's talking about. I'm not being hard or harsh on the guy, but he doesn't know. It's obvious. It's very obvious. And do he really want the answer? No, he don't want the answer. You know what? Why he doesn't want it? Because he doesn't want the answer because it involves changing. You're going to have to make a change in the offensive mindset, in the administrator group, in the offensive idea, the people running the offense, whether it's Carmichael changing him, letting Curry do certain things. He doesn't want any answers because it involves change. He's gotten the answers. He's trying to figure a way to do it without changing who he has, which is stupid. Bottom line, that's dumb. You see you getting this up and down movement. You keep going back to what doesn't work. It keeps cycling back because they're not jiving. There's no harmony. There's no synergy because the people don't believe in that offense, man. And they don't believe in Derek Carr. Isn't it obvious? No, they don't believe in Carr. And you can tell the difference because when Jameis gets in there, the whole damn offense lights up. You get 2 quick touchdowns on back-to-back drives. The whole damn game, the Saints offense was stuck in the mud behind Derek Carr. Behind Derek Carr, nothing happening. People dropping passes. He trying to redirect them. I'm like, dude, how are we still in week number 10 having people that's not on the same page? These same guys you work with, and not just in gameplay, but you're supposed to be practicing. I think they are practicing during the week leading into the games. How are they having multiple days of practice leading into these games and then get into the games and have all of these breakdowns, don't know what they're doing. Remember when they try to set up the screens and nobody blocks anybody? McCoy sets up the screen and run past two guys he was supposed to block, and they tackle Elvin Kamara before he even gets going. Remember that? How many times did you see screens that were set up where guys just simply didn't block the people that they were supposed? I mean, just simple stuff. Block the guy. Don't run past him. Block the guy. Give your guy an opportunity to make a play. How often did we see that? Then the penalties, the false starts, the dumb stuff that you're supposed to watch out for. It's just the team wasn't prepared to play. I don't know what these people doing in practice, but whatever it is, they're not believing in it. It's not working because it's not translating to success on the field. So they're practicing. Obviously, they're practicing wrong, because if you practicing right, that'll carry over into the game. So whatever the hell they're doing on the practice field leading into the game, all that needs to be changed. You think this guy's going to make the change? You think we got to figure out a way to do such and such? No, the offense had plenty of reps in the first half to make changes happen. But you cannot get away from the fact that the offense scored 2 quick touchdowns in back-to-back drives when Jameis Winston came into the game. It was almost like a breath of fresh air for the offense. It was like, oh, okay, Jameis in here. Let's make something happen. Now, he didn't win the game, but he did give the offense a spark that they desperately needed, because prior to Jameis coming into the game, the Saints had, 4 quarters without a touchdown. They had a game. It was 2 from the last game and 2 from this game. Not the last game, the game before the last. What was it? Whoever we played before, I forget, because these games sucked to me. But 2 games ago, on the back end of that game, it was 2 quarters where the Saints offense didn't score, and then the first 2 from the game against the Minnesota Vikings. So they had those 2 quarters, those 4 quarters all together make a game. So they had 4 quarters without an offensive touchdown until Jameis got it in the second half with 2 strikes to get the offense jailed. You don't see that and say, damn, Jameis just came in there and they just sparked them just like that. What's going on here? Do you think that guy's studying on that? Hell no, he's not studying on that. There is no QB controversy, but you're supposed to be studying on that and see what happened there. How he was able to spark them that fast, and Carr's out there all this time, and he can't get nothing right. He can't make the throws. Everything is a check down, and it's the same stuff when you look at the film. There are guys running open down the field, and he's checking it down. He's trying to throw in the double coverage. It's just like, what are you doing? It is no fault on Derek Carr. He's really struggling to try to get it right because the pressure's on. The pressure's on him, and he feels it. You took that $150 million, dude. The pressure is on. You had to have known when you was going to sign that contract that this was coming with it. You have to perform. Man, simply didn't, man. So, I mean, in the end, it doesn't. And we've said this over and over again. You got to take the ball out of Derek Carr's hands. We kept saying that. You got to put it in the hands of Alvin Kamara and definitely Taysom Hill. And Taysom Hill had 1 run yesterday, 1 run and 2 catches on the game. And that's simply is not going to cut it. Here's him, Dennis Allen.
I thought we hurt ourselves a couple of times. Some missed opportunities. Offensively, I think the holding call down there was a big call, which knocked us. We're going to be first and 10 on the 11-yard line. Instead, we're 1st and 20. We end up having to settle for a field goal. There was a couple of missed opportunities in the passing game where I thought we had a chance for some plays. A couple of opportunities in the screen game where I felt like we had some big play opportunities that we didn't take advantage of.
What would your evaluation be of the offensive line in this game? I think we'd seen some things kind of trending in the right direction the couple weeks before that. From what you had described before, did you see that continue this game, or did you see?
Yeah, look, there was obviously some good things, and yet there were some things that we have to be better at. I thought we were able to run the ball effectively. Particularly early in the game, and like I said, when you get into a situation where you're chasing points, it makes it a lot more difficult to, kind of establish the run game and stick with the run game. So I did think there were some things we did well in the run game. We knew it was going to be a tough matchup from a protection standpoint because I felt like they had some guys that could kind of get after the passer a little bit. And I think, we had some times where we didn't hold up as well in protection as we needed to. And then there were some times where, we did a really good job in protection. So, I thought overall was not a poor performance. And yet, look, when you play a game like that, I don't think any of us did good enough.
Man, listen, it was a poor performance, Dennis. It was, bro. What are you talking about? This was a poor performance. The Saints didn't stick with the running attack. They still had 2 full quarters of football to play. And when Jameis came in, they just got pass happy. They just abandoned the run. Even if you can mix in the draw, you still have to keep it balanced because they're obviously the defense is playing off and they're allowing, if you hit them with the draw and you get the draw, we can sneak, we can really hurt them. We can get some good yardage that way because, we can set the play action up where you can get the deep shot. Because if you're just throwing, of course they're gonna sit. You playing and writing into their hands. You got to be able to run the ball. They're backed up. When Jameis threw that second interception, there were 3. He threw it into triple coverage. If we were running the ball and using the draw along with what we were doing, that would have made things look a little bit different because the Saints was going to move the ball. They were moving the ball, using the running attack, hitting them with Taysom, hitting them with Elvin. And listen, the Saints only had 15 carries in this game. 15 carries in the game for 65 yards. Elvin Kamara only had 9 carries in this game. He averaged almost 5 yards a run in this game. The Saints simply didn't utilize it. Like, well, they were behind. Yeah, they were behind by 21 points at halftime, and they had 2 full halves and 3 timeouts left and a 2-minute warning. There was plenty of time for the Saints to catch up with the Minnesota Vikings if they would do it the right way. And of course, Jameis had they not only did they score 2 touchdowns, but they also had the 2-point conversions to help out. And they just needed to do that again to catch the Vikings because the defense kicked in and stopped the Vikings offense from doing what they do. They only allowed them to do 3 points, a field goal in the third quarter, and they only scored 3 points in the second half period. So the Saints had enough time. They had timeouts and a 2-minute warning to be able to still mix the run and pass together. The game wasn't as far gone like he's pinning it to be. And it wasn't a good outing for the Saints offensive line. It wasn't, despite the fact Elvin Kamara still averaged 5 yards a run and only got 9 carries. But the Saints were throwing the ball more, and that's what I was saying. Carr had 18 pass attempts. He was averaging 6 yards a throw. He wasn't working. And that's before he got knocked out of there. He had 18 pass attempts versus whatever the Saints had, and Kamara had just 9. How does Elvin Kamara only have 9 rushing attempts? They weren't being blown out 35-10 at halftime or 30 or something like that. They were trailing 24-3 at halftime. 24-3. We still had a lot we could have done in 2 full quarters of action had we been more balanced in our approach. But hell yeah, the offensive line needs to do it better. They need to work on it. And that wasn't a good performance, bro. So, I mean, but people ask questions to Dennis Allen. It's always a move to try to, he doesn't give specific answers, almost like he hears the question and then he hear what they're saying, but he can't pinpoint exactly what they're talking about. So it's a general commentary. Like the people are pointing him in the direction of the issue, and then he just says something general, like he says something like a manufacturer answer to what they're asking about, where a specific question desires a specific answer. You should give, if I ask a general question, give me a general answer, but a specific question like what they're asking them deserves a specific answer that, that's attuned to that. And the guy doesn't do it, man, because he doesn't have any answers. And that's the thing, man. It's sad, man. Really, it is, bro. It's sad.
Dennis, for Michael Thomas, just how tough was that to see, given that he had stayed healthy most of this year. And
Yeah, look,
coming
I
back
mean, I think anytime a player suffers an injury, it's tough to see because I know how much these guys put into it. I know how much hard work they put into it, and so, again, like I said, we'll get a little bit more information as we go along. But look, he was awesome on the sideline. He was into the game. He was, encouraging guys, and so that was good to see.
Dennis says,
It's just ridiculous, man. Michael Thomas and Saints were pretty fortunate to have Michael Thomas all the way into the season to week 10. We've had Michael Thomas with Chris Olave and Rashid Shaheed all the way into week 10. We've had them available. We've had Jimmy Graham available that the Saints and Dennis Allen can't seem to use their imaginations to include Jimmy Graham in the game day. We could have certainly used him in this performance in this Minnesota game. But once again, that requires imagination. This guy has no imagination. He has no vision. And it's really telling. And I'm gonna spare you guys. I'm gonna spare us from listening to this dude any longer. This is ridiculous, man. It's simply ridiculous, to be honest with you. All right, shout out to Brent, man. I'm not going to play any more of Dennis Allen, man. Dennis Allen obviously doesn't have the answers that we are desiring. We want answers on why this team is like this. But we already got the answers, don't we, family? We already have the answers on what's going on with this team. We know what time it is. We already know what time it is with this team, don't we? Dennis Allen he's not going to give us any answers. Shout out to Brent. He says, in case the losers leading winners, Big Q. Yes, indeed, bro. Thank you, man. Appreciate you, Brent, for the Brent Norris with the Cash App, man. Appreciate you, my friend. It's just weird, man, and it's sad, man. I got a somber tone because it's so frustrating because you want answers and this guy doesn't have any answers. Every other word is a we're gonna do this, we're gonna do this. But any change, you're gonna have any change? No, we're not gonna change in the offensive staff. How do you affect change to the team? You want the team to change how it's playing, correct? Yeah, of course we do. Okay, then how do you expect the team to change what they're doing if you don't change some of the coaches or perhaps change some of these players that might be underperforming? Perhaps you need to sign some guys and bring in them. Perhaps you need to try some different looks, this new philosophy, something new. Perhaps, no, he doesn't want to do that. He wants to keep doing what he's doing because it takes too much effort and time and too many brain cells got to get to rubbing together to create new ideas that he needs to implement with this team moving forward. This team needs a wake-up call. It's 10 weeks in, and they stink. They're 5-5, and it's a stinky, trifling 5-5. It's like you're losing to teams that you're not even supposed to be even losing into. You don't lose to the Vikings. I understand you're losing to the Vikings with Justin Jefferson over there and Kirk Cousins because Kirk Cousins played good against the Saints. I can see you losing to them. Oh, yeah, but losing to a guy that just got there and he turned into Randall Cunningham on the Saints defense, losing to a team that's a bottom unit in rushing. They put up 120-something yards on you, and they averaged 83 yards rushing. They're one of the bottom teams in the NFL in running the football, and they put up 120-something yards on you, and the quarterback that wasn't even there over 3 weeks ago is tearing you up. A journeyman who don't even fully know the playbook did that to the Saints. So it's like, and then there was a constant pattern from different mediocre quarterbacks doing that, man. It's just ridiculous. But thank you, Brent. Appreciate you.
Thank you. Far too kind.
It doesn't make any sense. I'm not going to play any more Dennis Allen because Dennis Allen is not, he doesn't have any answers. We're looking for answers. We know Mike Thomas is banged up. We know Marshawn Lattimore got rolled up on. He was carted off. We know Derek Carr is carted off. We know Dennis Allen said that there is no QB controversy. He said that the other day. But it's hard. But if you are a thinking person in the Saints building, you have to be studying the film tell the difference. It was the same game, the same personnel. How was Jameis able to get 2 touchdowns where Derek Carr couldn't do nothing? How did Jameis do that? How was he able to get 2 touchdowns in the game with the same wide receivers that Derek Carr was playing with, but Carr couldn't do nothing? Nothing, just 3 and out, getting out, gone. And then the only thing he can do is get you lined up for a field goal. $150 million, by the way, to get you lined up for field goals. It's just amazing. 5-5 at the bye. We got the bye week coming up here. 5-5. Saints signed JPP, Jason Pierre-Paul, to help out with the pass rush. Going into the bye week, of course, we'll have some other stuff we'll be covering. We'll talk more about it through the bye week. And ideas coming out of the bye week. It's in a time to get an assessment on the team. It's like it's a midseason report that we'll do and talk about the Saints, what's going on with the Saints. A lot of people, when the week started, before the season started off, were looking at the schedule and giving predictions. Nobody outside of Uncle Paulie would have said that, maybe the professor too, would have said that the Saints would be 5-5 at week 10, 5-5. Because we were looking at the talent of the team. But once again, let this be known and let this stick and stay in some of our brains about a team not being able to overcome its coach. If you got a mediocre coach that's on the screen talking about we're gonna figure it out. We got to figure out how the defense I want to know what kind of preparation was Dennis Allen doing for the Minnesota game when the whole damn week, everybody, including the media and everybody, was putting on Dennis Allen's mind, and it was on Cam Jordan's mind too, that the problem with the Saints defense has been and for a while has been going into this game, the onus was on stopping the quarterback from running around and making plays. That dude did exactly that. Could they explain to me how you was focused on that all week in practice, and then you go out there and let them do it? Could they explain that to me? It'll be different if you wasn't concentrating on that going into practice. You was focused on something, but the focus was on stopping that guy from doing that. And the Saints, and the guy went out there, and he was the main reason why the Saints lost the game to him, because he was scrambling around making plays that they couldn't get back from. So I mean, how was that even a thing? How when you were looking at it and seeing and knowing that's what you had to do to stop the guy, why wasn't that done the full game? They don't have any answers. This guy doesn't have any answers. It's just amazing, man. It's amazing. And the team is very talented. Listen, I must just say the team is very talented. This is a talented team. The coach on top of the team is bad, and teams can't win despite the coach. It's just something they can't get past. So if you got a coach that don't know what he's doing, and this guy obviously doesn't, he's not he's not no type of head coach. I don't respect him as a head coach. It's the players are frustrated because then the offense is funky. And guess what? If Carmichael and them will listen to the players know what needs to be done to get it moving. How does Alvin Kamara have to campaign to get runs? He had 9 rushes yesterday. The game wasn't that far down where they couldn't keep including him in the game, at least in draw packages when you were lined up in the shotgun in the second half. When they were back, when the defense was backed up, preparing for the deep pass because they didn't want you to quick break them, you could at least snuck them with the draw and got yardage that way and kept doing it till they adjusted, then went up top their head. You know, how do you just go one-dimensional in the second half and just be throwing that much? But we had to catch up, Q. You're never supposed to just be throwing all the time. Like, you got to mix the run and pass together to keep them honest. That's how it goes, you know? Because if you was mixing it up, I promise you wouldn't have triple coverage on that throw with Jameis threw that interception in there on the second interception. All right. Shout out to Brent, man. Brent says, saying we have to play Carr because of his pay. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, you're right, bro. What a way to stop running QB. Yeah, what a way to stop running Taysom Hill and it's just ridiculous. Yeah, that deserves a. What the hell was Dennis Allen doing and Pete Carmichael doing when Taysom Hill had one rush in the game and 2 catches, and then he was noticeably absent, like in the running game in the second half when Jameis comes in the game. How does that work? Jameis and Taysom in the game, like you could have still put Taysom in as a running back. You could have still used Taysom as a running back in the backfield and had Alvin Kamara as a wide receiver. What's going on here, man? Why can't we just use some imagination here, man? Why can't
Hey, bro, come on now, dog.
Come on.
Come on, man.
Come on, man. Thank you, Brent. Appreciate you, bro, on that. Thank you, man.
Thank you. Far too kind.
I don't know what to say about it. Family saying, man, Q, could you take this idiot's face off there? I'm sorry, fam. I forgot it was stuck up there. I'm going to take it off. There it goes. But that's the weirdness of it. Thank you, Brent. That's the weirdness of it. Is like we look at this stuff and it's like, man, we're not saying nothing that's wrong because this is the stuff that we seen from the past that worked. Why, your offense will flow a lot better if Alvin Kamara and Taysom Hill can survive. They can operate on the same field at the same time. Even if you use Taysom Hill as a running back there with Jameis Winston, if Jameis is in the game because Carr is out, Taysom can operate as a running back next to Jameis in the pocket. If you need to draw it to Taysom, you could do it. And you could split Kamara out and have him out there as a wide receiver. You could do that. Elvin could do that. Matter of fact, that adds 2 of your best playmakers along with the rest of your playmakers out there at the field at the same time. And they just can't seem to do that. That's on Pete Carmichael, man, because he gets lost in the sauce, especially late on in the game when his little scripted plays runs out and he got to start ad-libbing. He just gets lost. When all his little scripted plays runs out and the plays that he plays and he runs out of the scripted plays and he has to go into the ad-lib mode, he start failing like a dog. That's when the F's comes out. All the F's and stuff comes out. The D minuses and the F grades come out then because that's something that he simply doesn't do well. So, I mean, it's what it is, man. So, I'm going to get ready to get on. Yes, right. Not that Boosie. Yeah, not Boosie. Boosie telling him, come on, man. Come on, man. But yes, indeed, fam. But yeah, Sean says, Q, the defense has been trending down. Yeah, I'm with you, bro. True enough. But to be honest, they carried the offense early in the season. Yeah, but the defense has been going down. They have been, and people saying that they're old and all that kind of stuff. But is that really the issue? See, some of this stuff maybe we need to delve into because we'll have time to look at what's going on with the offense, what's going on with the defense. Why is the offense is taking so long for the offense to dwell? It's not really the offense, it's Derek Carr. Derek Carr is the person. Jameis Winston showed you if it was a trial going on right now, it was a court going on. They had a judge there on the bench. They had lawyers and sitting up here, going against each other. And they got a jury sitting there and people watching. The jurors to the right and people behind the prosecutor and the other guy. And then next thing you know, they're just debating and saying who's guilty for this, that, and the third and all this. And then the guy just brings his evidence. Yana, let me present to the court this evidence, Exhibit A. Exhibit A that I will present to the court is the fact that the reason why the Saints offense is struggling is because of Carr. They want to say offense because they don't want to make him feel bad. But the reality is this is Derek Carr, man. The exhibit I put before the great Saint think tank court of the world is the fact that Jameis Winston came in the game and led the Saints to 2 quick scores and then had 2 conversions with the 2 touchdowns. They converted both. They got 2-point conversions on both those Jameis Winston touchdowns, real quick touchdowns. That shocked the Minnesota Vikings. They were shocked. That shocked the hell out of the Minnesota Vikings. The Saints had all the momentum in the world, but after they did that, the game plan went straight past and they wasn't doing enough of the balance stuff to make it worth nothing. Vikings just reared back. They made the adjustment and the Saints just played into their hands. But the exhibit to the court is Jameis Winston scoring 2 quick touchdowns and using the offense that Derek Carr had out there. He couldn't do nothing with. What's going on there? It's Derek Carr. Carr is not seeing the field and he's not making the throws. This is as simple as that. He's not seeing the field the same way Jameis was when Jameis was going through his progressions and firing the ball to the people that the ball, giving them an opportunity. That's the thing Jameis does. Jameis will fire it and put it in the area which will give you an opportunity to make a spectacular play. we forget. Well, I don't forget. They forget. We don't forget that we have all these receivers that we have. All three of our receivers are fantastic wide receivers. Chris Olave's catch that he made in the corner of the end zone was phenomenal. That is Chris Olave. We've seen him do that more times than we care to mention. Michael Thomas does the same thing. Rashid Shaheed does the same thing too. So when you see those guys, and even he find A.T. Perry firing back across the field, A.T. Perry put it up higher enough so A.T. Perry can go and get it, and he went and got it. So, Derek Carr that's not the same thing. He's not seeing the field the same way. That's the problem. The offense is not going anywhere because Derek Carr is struggling bad. He's struggling bad. That's why I was saying keep his attempts down, keep his passing attempts down, and use the running attack when you're doing it. Like when they're not running the ball well, they were running the ball pretty decently. Well, at least Alvin Kamara was. He was averaging 5 yards, 4.7 to be precise, but 5 yards you rounded off per carry in 9 carries. Imagine what that could have been if they would have kept feeding the ball, even if it was out of a draw. You see? So in the way, you think Dennis Allen went and looked at that tape and broke it down like that and taught, man, listen, we need to get Taysom Hill involved. We need to find plays where we can get these guys on the field at the same time, especially in money areas of the game. When the Saints offense was stinking and funky in the first half of the Minnesota Vikings game, why didn't they kick into the 2-minute offense to spark the offense? They didn't do that again. See, it's like these people not learning anything, man. They're not really learning what they supposed, or whatever they learned from the previous week's family, they simply just forget it and go back to what they are doing, which is non-fundamental, low IQ football. They are very comfortable going there. That's because the coach is that. Why did they keep going? Because the coach is not a disciplined guy. He doesn't know what he's doing, and the team is basically filling that out. The team is transformed into the mindset of the coach. That's why we need to get the coach out of here. He needs to be gone. So will he be gone? Hell no. The Saints are not going to fire him. They're hiding his contract from us because I think they're overpaying him. All right, so anyway, let me go a few comments and I'm going to leave. Y'all got any questions, fam? Throw it in the chat because I'm about to bounce up out of here. All right, 504 Cole says, Q, this is a tough season, bro, but we still number one in the division, even that it feels bad because it's DA. He says because it makes DA even more delusional. Yeah, we're there right now, but I'm not confident that we will remain there. Ultimately, I think I just don't think. I think it might be Atlanta. We'll see what it looks like. I want us to beat Atlanta, but the way this Saints team is so up and down, I really don't know, man. Yeah, I really don't know. Yeah, we number one right now in the division, man, right now, because everybody else keeps losing. And I guess we'll take that, right? It's better than being the Carolina Panthers, right? So I mean, we'll see, man. We'll see how it all goes. I don't know. I'm not confident about this team right now with all the talent that we have, and I'm not very confident in them, man. I'm really not, because they're too topsy-turvy. They're too up and down, and that's because the discipline, the focus, the concentration, the things that you need to be very good in a league with very competitive people. The Saints simply don't have enough of it, and that's the problem. Travis says everybody in the Saints headquarters own a GM. Yeah, 150 QB should be in jail. All right, what's up, KK? All right. Chantel says it's starting to snow. Okay, girl, where you at? She's in Ohio. Okay, wow. Damn. All right. Tuck says Jameis puts in an area where somebody else will make it. Yeah, I wish Carr could do that. I wish Carr could do the same thing. Nola Gang, what's happening, bro? He said, I don't Joe Woods calling the defense is still. No, it's Dennis Allen still calling the defense. That was another thing I said about making a change, that he needs to stop calling the defensive plays, let Joe do it and be an overseer. He still keeps doing the same thing. This dude don't want to win, man. You're not serious about winning. You're not serious if you're not trying to make changes. One of the changes I made mention of weeks ago was Dennis Allen needs to stop calling the defense and let Joe Woods do it. Get your smelly hands off this team and let these other guys do it and act as an overseer. He refuses to do that. Because he ain't serious. He's not serious about winning anything. He's not. Tuck says, you ever feel like you need a pair of shoe sets where yeah, it's getting frustrating, man. It really is. Brian says, what's going on with Carr, his injury, and what's going on with Michael Thomas' situation with him getting arrested? Well, they're gonna settle that. That wasn't really nothing at all, because they're gonna take care of the Michael Thomas thing. But the brick thing was, the guys parking in front of his house. But it's more of the same. Like I just mentioned, do you think that these incidents occur with Chris Olave racing or speeding in Kenner, or Michael Thomas having this? A lot of these stuffs because these guys frustrated. The Saints were winning, and these guys, and none of this stuff, none of this would have happened. This is all sidebar frustration things that these guys do. They bringing it home. They're not leaving it in the building. A lot of that they bringing it home with them. And that's what we're seeing. That's what it's externalizing into. Is it's stuff off this. It's not a coincidence that you two starting wide receivers, both of them was arrested within days of each other. One dude got arrested for speeding, 30 miles above the speed limit, and Michael Thomas bricking up people's stuff. That's what happens, man, when you lose and you're frustrated, bro, and externalizing out there in real life. But in terms of Derek Carr, Dennis Allen just spoke on Derek Carr. He says shoulder's fine, and he just had a concussion. So, but they anticipating Carr to be ready for the Atlanta game. Mike Thomas had a knee issue that he had in the game, and he listed it as significant and said that they will more than likely have more updates later on. So as the weeks move, as the days move into, we'll get more of an understanding of what he's talking about as significant, because sometimes he says stuff and you never know. So we just have to keep an eye out on it. KD, how you doing, sir? Says, I don't know. He says, I don't know. Would you rather have a top 3 pick or a number 20 pick? Because even when we make the playoffs, dog, I don't know if we're going to do anything, especially if we get somebody like the Cowboys. So, yeah, that was the thing. I said this the last stream. It's like Dennis Allen is not going to lose enough for him to be fired. Like, he's not going to lose 8 games and do you the favor of getting him cut. And it's not going to happen. The Saints are going to play 500 ball. They're going to play 500 ball, and they're going to be right around, with 8 games left. They're going to be somewhere around 500, maybe a game ahead, 500, one game before. It's going to be something like that. I just don't see them taking off because they lack so many things from a leadership standpoint from the coach that you need going into the season. And see, a lot of times people don't believe in a Dennis Allen because he hadn't done anything as a head coach. He hadn't done anything. Now, if you send a guy like even a Doug Peterson or any coach that has some type of experience in the playoffs as a head coach into that locker room, those people are going to listen to him. But who's listening to Dennis Allen while he's talking about we're going to go to the playoffs? Well, Dennis Allen doesn't, as a head coach, is not, as a coordinator, he's been there under Peyton. But, that doesn't count in terms of him being the man operating the team. He just had a section of the squad. But as a team, you looking at Dennis Allen's preparation has to be greater than some of the more elite teams in the NFL. And I just read you the article on him not being able to beat some of the best teams in the league. He couldn't beat teams with backups and rookie quarterbacks that's still trying to learn the game. So, yeah, bro, I think you're not going to get a top 3 pick because he's not going to lose enough for you to get a 3 pick. You're gonna get somewhere in the middle. That's what it's going to end up. He's going to win just enough to stay out of contending and just enough to get fired. They're going to use just enough to keep him. Well, it was 2 wins better than what he did last year, or 3, or whatever the case. They're going to use that, and then they're going to use the excuse that we need to see that was just 1 year with Dennis Allen and Derek Carr together. Let's see what they look in year 2. See, this is already crafted and created to sell this to you, but Dennis Allen has got to do his part. It's already been said. We were saying that last year about Dennis Allen. It's like, man, Dennis Allen, he's going to win. He's going to win just enough to keep you from getting a top 5 pick, and he's gonna lose just enough to not allow you to be a contender for a trophy. I mean, the man don't have it, bro. I mean, the dude, you know what I mean? The guy simply doesn't have it, bro. He really doesn't. He doesn't have it, and he's not trying to get it. All right, Arvin, how you doing? Said the Browns fired Joe Woods for a reason. The defense sucked with him, and now the Browns defense is number one in the league. Good Lord, that's a great comment, man. But now Joe Woods is a fan. Joe Woods is a super cool dude. A lot was going on with the Browns defense when Joe Woods was there, and he are performing a lot better. There. I mean, that guy Garrett is a beast in his own right, and they finally got it together after years of trying. So credit to the Browns, man. They stunk for years. They finally good, man. They were able to beat Baltimore last week, so credit to them. But yeah, your comment is 100% on the money. But you got to do something. You got to change it up and see what happens. And see how guys respond to Joe Woods. And I promise you, they'll respond a lot better because Joe Woods is a very personable guy. People like Joe Woods. So, and he's really smart. So I would change it up too. But the problem is Dennis Allen won't relinquish the play calling to let Joe Woods do it. That's the problem. All right. Yeah, he says Saints are just like the Pelicans, can't get out their own way. Problem is too, it's leadership too, because if Doc Rivers was walking in that coaching room for the New Orleans Pelicans, that team would be a contender. A lot of what's going on with the Pelicans is the head coach is too meek. He's not rough and gruff enough. He's a good dude, but he's too meek, and that meekness is times when you're supposed to show that meekness, and times when you're supposed to turn it on and show that warrior. He's too meek, and the team is too meek. There's no dog in the Pelicans, and that's the problem. We cover the Pelicans all the time, so it's all good. All right, so anyway, okay. Tonkaton says Sean Payton versus Dennis Allen Super Bowl would be one for the books. I don't think it happens, bro. I don't think it happens, man. All right. Any more questions from me, fam? Okay, they got one right. Well, statement said Dennis Allen gets fired or released by the end of the season. What do you think about possibly getting Bill Belichick? No way. Bill Belichick is. I don't think it's a lot of stuff around them firing Bill Belichick. I don't see that happening, bro. I think the Patriots going to stick with Bill Belichick, and then they're just going to draft a better quarterback, or that's probably what's going to end up. They got a bunch of really good quarterbacks that'll be coming out this year. So, I could see Bill Belichick doing something like that. They're just going to find a quarterback to run the system. Mac Jones is not the guy, and that's obvious. But Bill Belichick is you'll be hard pressed to find a Bill Belichick to come in here and help you turn this mess around. I doubt Bill Belichick, if he leaves the Patriots, that the Saints will have the vision to go after Bill Belichick. They would have to fire Dennis Allen and pursue Bill Belichick and pay Bill Belichick, and he wouldn't be cheap. And that's something the Saints will not do. They're not going to chase down Bill Belichick and pay him some money. And even if he was released by the Patriots, they're not going to fire Dennis Allen and go run after Bill Belichick. That takes a general manager with a brain and urgency. And Mickey Loomis is sitting there after 20 years of eating up Saints money and collecting all that money from the Saints. He's comfortable, and that's a problem. That's a problem, being comfortable. Change requires you to be uncomfortable at times. You can't expect to be changed. And that's another thing, man. People like, when you changing and you going and you transition into something, you got to come out of your comfort zone for change to happen, man. They don't get it. You have to do. And this is something that we go through life. And my experienced people know this. My young people, they might not know, but my experienced people know. And this is game here. Is that when you change, if you really want change, I mean big change, I mean life-altering change to happen for you, and things to turn a corner or go in a different direction, then, right now they might be going in the direction that you don't want it to go, and you want to change it for a different direction. Like, you put your foot in the ground and then turn to the opposite direction and go back to a better direction than what you're going. That requires you to come out of your comfort zone, and you have to get uncomfortable for that change to happen. There's, very rarely you're going to see a comfortable change where that change is going to be something seriously meaningful. You got to come up out of that comfort zone for that change to happen. And it also requires faith for that change to happen, because that's a portion of the process. It's like, if I'm going to do this, I got to make sure I do this, and I'm going to fulfill it I'm going to go all the way. I'm no doubts. I'm going to put my faith and I prayed on it. I'm going to move on and I'm going to do it. And that's how you work it. But these people, man, they don't want to change. I know when people who are serious about change and making things right, these people are not the people. They're not serious about making real change because they big and happy. They big and happy, and they part of the cult that says, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. We can run damage control on your ass like they do. We can run propaganda at them. We can send different colors of propaganda at them to make them buy in, because we got these dumbass people out here, regardless of the Saints stinking it up, they still giving them tens of millions of dollars when they don't deserve it. And then they fuss and complain at the end that they didn't get what their money worth. You knew that going into it, that would be the case. So as long as people like that, they help prolong it. But sooner or later, they'll have enough people like me who said, I'm not giving you a dime until I see change, because I know what change looks like. So, that upsets me, man. But it is what it. My experienced people know what the hell I'm talking about. Real change requires you to come up out of your comfort zone. You can't be comfortable with real change. You can't do it. That's just the natural law of how things operate in the universe. If you want change to happen in your life, you can't remain comfortable. You got to come up out of that comfort zone, and you got to prepare yourself for the change. And no matter how long the change takes, you have to have your mind set up for it to accomplish it. Meaning you can't get half the way and try to go back. Well, this is too hard. No. You got to make your mind up and then go put your walking boots on, or whatever you got to do. And I'm saying that spiritually and mentally, of course, that you got to prepare yourself for that journey. And no matter how long it takes, that's for you to do. That is your process. But you have to, that's the change. That's why a lot of people stay where they are, because they're not ready for that change in their life. And it's there for everybody. But it requires energy, it requires focus, and it requires faith for real change to happen. And I'm looking at these people, and I'm telling you, I don't see none of that. Not at the top anyway. All right, Chris says, Q done brought me a tear to my eye if the Saints doing bad things out there. Looking secure. Well, thank you, bro. Appreciate you. No, I'm just saying, it's real life out here, man. I'm talking real. That's how I always talk, bro. That's what I believe in, man. That's why I have that passion in my voice when I talk about it, bro, because it does hurt me that my team is not performing well, but it does make me feel better that I'm talking to you guys and we all sharing that, that energy together, man. We together this whole time. So it's called law of averages. Regular season isn't everything, but eventually you revert back to the mean. And through the sample. Thank you, KD. Shout out to you for that, man. T Dirty, how you doing, sir? Appreciate you for being here, bro. Shout out to you. All right. Thank you, fam. Appreciate all y'all, man, for being here. But yeah, that's what it is. Travis says, Q, play that Lil Wayne featuring Baby Face song. Come yes, yeah, I remember. I won't get a strike on it, my brother, but I agree with you. I remember that. That's good. Chris says, seems like the 09 Super Bowl hangover that lasted 14 years now. It's just the Saints made a bad decision, bro. Made a bad call on the guy, and Tom he's on the clock. All right, KD said, who has a better chance of getting hot? Saints, Falcons, or Bucks? I got the Sucks. To be honest, may feel decent, and their D is very timely. I don't know. If I had to put anything on, I'd probably say the Saints. The close team, you talk about the Saints, and I think we watching out for the Falcons. The Falcons went back to Ritter because the other guy got hurt. Eventually, I'm thinking eventually the Falcons is going to find their way. Eventually, I'm telling you, because the defense has been, up and down, but I think sooner or later they start playing better. The Falcons will start playing, because the game is to get the offensive playbook out of the hands of Arthur Smith and let the offense. I think sooner or later they'll make the changes before. See, and the reason I'm saying that, I really don't want to say that, but the reality is all about who makes the change first. Who's willing to make the change and put pressure on their coaches to force change? Will it be Fontenot? Will it be Mickey Loomis? We know that that's an easy question. That is Terry Fontenot. He will make the decision. And when Arthur Smith is being, stubborn dude is a stubborn dude. But Fontenot made him get rid of Mariota last year and play Desmond Ritter. Fontenot did that. Fontenot doesn't have any problems reaching in there when the team is struggling and giving the head coach a nod to do something. Fontenot does that. Mickey Loomis does not. So for that reason, I'm going to say that the Falcons will probably make the change and adjustments before the Saints do. And it'll be in 2 weeks, we'll see exactly that. Can the Saints go into Atlanta and beat the Falcons when the Saints don't beat anybody worth a damn? You know, they lose to teams they should have beat. You know, do they beat the Falcons? Do they get motivated enough to beat the Falcons, put a complete game plan against the Falcons? We'll see, man. But that game right there would decide. To me, I'm thinking right there, that's probably will be whoever wins that game will be the person that probably end up taking the division. But it's all about adjustments, and I think they make the adjustments before we do. That's what I feel. Brent says, he says, so ridiculous. Yeah. He says, for Loomis, well, let me tell you, Q, don't make me. Yeah, I know Mickey Loomis. Thank you, bro, for your cash app. I think Mickey Loomis and them, man, is just, he just sitting back, just drinking coffee and eating clam chowder because, you know, that's what I say. It's all about who makes the change first. And I think they make the change before we do, to be honest with you, bro. All right, Chris says, I'm of the opinion that the Falcons are going to have the South won in 2 games left. Because, man, it's not the fact that it's a hate on the Saints. We want the Saints to win, but we have problems, and the man is running the team doesn't want to change coaches. He doesn't want to switch out personnel. He doesn't want to do any of that stuff. And the answer requires, that's why I went on the spiel about change and about getting out of your comfort zone. The dude don't want to come out of the comfort zone for things to change for the squad. And as long as he's like that, you're not going to see any serious, long-lasting, consistent change on the football field. You'll win a few games here or there just to stay around in there. But when you talk about competing and running away with something, you're not going to run away with nothing. The Saints had an opportunity to run away with the South with a win over the Vikings, and what they did, went up there and got hammered. They got hammered and had to fight all the way back. Now, imagine Derek Carr didn't get hurt. You would have got blown out in that game because Derek Carr wouldn't have got you no touchdown. Shit. Derek Carr, for the last, like I said, the 2 drives prior, the 2 drives or the 4 drives he was in there, since the 2 previous touchdowns he was involved in the past game, he was orchestrating the Saints offense through 4 quarters with no touchdowns until Jameis came in there and got those 2 scores on the back end of the last game. But it was 4 quarters that Derek Carr didn't score a touchdown before he got knocked out of there. So we was already in a touchdownless funk with him already happening all over again. So it's like, but he's still a guy. So as long as Dennis Allen believe Derek Carr is our quarterback, even when Carr stinks, Taysom Hill gets 1 carry in the game against the Vikings and doesn't get involved, and we can't consistently keep playmakers involved. Elvin had 9 carries for 47 yards or 40-some odd yards, whatever it was, and had 4.7 yards per carry. Star's not involved. Guys frustrated because at the end of the day, it takes vision, and this dumbass coach we have, he don't see it. I'm sorry. All right, so anyway, we're gonna get out on that, man. Sean says the only way James comes back is if DA is not the coach. I don't know, man. I don't know. All right, Travis says, can we get Joe Brady or Flores? No, because I think what ended up happening is, bro, they're not gonna. Mickey Loomis done let Dennis Allen turn the Saints into the Raiders. You got Derek Carr here, you got Joe Woods here, you got all these other coaches here, you got several former Raider players here, and they don't. And despite the fact they did do as much as they could do to get Derek Carr comfortable, they brought Chucky Gruden in here. They, and I'm pretty sure he talked to him on the phone. They had him working in the off season, and it's just not working because I think Carr's pressing too hard. That's why I said take the ball out of his hands and let him run the ball more. But the offensive line is not running. We need to figure out a way to put the best possible running attack we could together. I was saying we have a fullback. The Saints keep a fullback on the team. They didn't activate the goddamn guy, and he ain't do nothing. He ain't get in there and block one damn time. He might have played some special teams, but the guy didn't get in there and block not one time. They was running Elvin Kamara, Jamal Williams, all those guys by themselves. They didn't give him a fullback to lead block in front of the guys so he can guide those guys. Why have that fullback on this roster and Jimmy Graham inactive. How do we make a spot for a fullback that we don't use, and we got Jimmy Graham, a guy that can help us in the red zone, inactive? It's a game day scratch. Could somebody explain that to me? Why do we need to have a fullback if we're not going to use the dude? And they waited till the dude got back, and they just activated the goddamn guy and didn't use him at all in the game. Why are we doing that? Why do we have a fullback we don't use and we can use the spot for a Jimmy Graham in the red zone? I'm just saying, bro, these people are not serious about winning. You know, they're not. Brian says, do you think Jameis comes back next year or a 1 or 2 year deal? Do you think they'll trade him? I don't think they trade Jameis because it's past that point. But I do think that if Jameis does, he gave the Saints an opportunity this year. I don't know if Jameis comes back this year. I would have to say no to that because Hayner's here, and they've been trying to look for a reason to get rid of Jameis already. If they reworked his contract and made it super cheap, they gave him the deal because they couldn't get Deshaun Watson the year before. But now that they got Derek Carr here, Jameis is an afterthought. And they got Jake Hayner here. They'll just sign some cheap ass old veteran quarterback. But I don't think Jameis is here next year. I really don't. I think Jameis is going after this year. He's out of here. You know, they got Hayner, and they'll just bring some cheap ass quarterback to back them up, a third string quarterback or whatnot, to bring them in here. And if they're going to keep a quarterback, more than likely, if they're going to keep somebody around, they might end up paying Taysom, because I know Taysom is due. He coming up due. So, you know, you might have to look at giving Taysom Hill money, you know, to stay. But I think Jameis is going after this year, Brian. Keep it real with you, bro. Yeah. All right. Yeah, I don't know about that, Chris. Me and you LSU guys, man. He says Saints may be able to draft Jaden Daniels in the middle of the first round. Man, you know, we'll see, bro. I would say no to that because the Saints, number one, don't draft LSU players nowhere even close to the first round. I mean, you know, they don't even look LSU's way. And LSU consistently puts out great talent at the wide receiver position, at the defensive back position, at the defensive line position, you know, and even at linebacker, we've been doing really good producing offensive linemen. You'd be hard pressed to find the last time the Saints spent the first round draft pick on an LSU player. They simply don't do it. They don't do it. Now, Chris Pratt, the Tulane quarterback's another guy that's there. He'll be available. Really good quarterback, a guy that's under the radar. But Jaden Daniels is special. He got to gain some weight, but he can throw the ball. He can run. He's intelligent. He's a good person, a leader, you know, and his game elevated far. But I would be hard pressed to believe the Saints, and he's on par to be the Heisman Trophy winner. They got Bo Nix there. I think eventually. We'll see, but I think Jaden Daniels will, over the next couple of games, will do just enough to kind of take that thing. But then again, they trying to say Bo Nix. They like Bo Nix from whatchamacallit, to take it, or Penix Jr. He's another dude. But listen, Jaden Daniels' statistics is way far, you know, just more impressive than those stats. Those guys are doing really well, by the way. But in the end, man, this Jaden Daniels Heisman Trophy, you know. You'll have a big game against Georgia State coming up this week, and then they got Texas A&M. They just fired Jimbo Fisher, so they'll be playing with a new guy there this week. In the week we play him, and then of course whatever bowl game we get. But I think Jaden Daniels, if he keeps doing what he's doing, man, he should win the Heisman. And then with that, I don't think the Saints are going to even look in Jaden Daniels' direction, which they'll be smart to do, because if Taysom Hill's not here, you're going to need somebody to run the Taysom. And I talked about this the other night. He wouldn't be a battering ram like Taysom Hill is, but he'll actually be able to run the Taysom Hill packages if you're doing RPO, because he can throw the ball. He's accurate, and he's the fastest dude on the field. In college anyway, you have to pick up some weight, but he can be utilized in a way where you can run an RPO package with Jaden Daniels. But that takes imagination, and that takes a lot. And, you know, you got Derek Carr sitting there, and I doubt they'll take a first-round draft pick quarterback, and you just spent $150 million on Derek Carr. And I see the articles of people wanting a first-round draft pick. Man, forget that. The Saints are not going to do that. Not going to take a first-round draft pick quarterback and Derek Carr sitting on the team. You know, they're not going to do that. They're not going to want to offend him by taking a quarterback, and then when he struggles, people are going to be calling for the first-round draft pick to get in there. He's not going to want that to happen. That's why he went and advocated for Jake Haener to be the quarterback because Jake Haener's farther down the line. He needs time to develop, and once his contract is up, Jake Haener can, in his mind, take the reins of the team. So I'm gonna be honest, I don't see that, fam. I don't see that, but we'll see, man. We shall see. All right. So anyway, yeah, 150 million, bro. You got it. All right. So anyway, fam, if that's all y'all got, man, I'm gonna get ready to get out on that. He said, why didn't they trade Jameis? Okay. No, they ain't trade because they needed them. Trade because listen, around that time, remember prior to the time, KK, if you're asking that question right now, remember what was happening at coming around the trade deadline. A lot of stuff was happening every time a veteran quarterback. It started this entire season prior to the trade deadline. Aaron Rodgers got hurt, trade Jameis. And we were saying no. And then McCarr got his block knocked off when he got slammed on the ground in the Green Bay game. Then things changed. Jameis, then it became James became very valuable because Carr got hurt. And Carr has been hurt this season, and that's why the portion of the big reason why the Saints are not get rid of Jameis, because Jake Haener was suspended for 6 games. Remember, the PED situation had him suspended. Taysom Hill is not a quarterback; he's an option guy. He doesn't know enough of the offense as a quarterback throwing the ball. His accuracy is off at times. You know what I'm saying? He's not throwing it enough, and you'd be hard pressed to see Taysom Hill throw 5 passes a game. We accustomed to see him throw a pass every other game, and that's not a quarterback. That's why I was always talking about Taysom as a running back, because that's where he earns his money. He earns his money as a running back, not a wide receiver. He can do the wide receiver stuff. He throws the ball every now and again, but he's mostly gets his yards and touchdowns through running. Like he gets in there and turns into a running back. So you're not going to rely on Taysom Hill full time as a quarterback. Only a guy that comes in there to give you a burst when you need one, right? A boost. But at that time, if Carr was healthy during the season, that might have changed the conversation a bit. But Carr got hurt in the Green Bay game, showed that he was suffering and kind of being on that vibe for most of the season after the game. And that made Jameis hands off Jameis, because they had teams that were asking about Jameis Winston and looking to get trades for Jameis Winston because quarterbacks was going down. There was the Minnesota Vikings stuff, all this other stuff that was going on prior to the trade deadline that they wanted to ask, and they were inquiring about Jameis Winston. The Saints smartly did not trade Jameis because they knew Carr was hurt, and Jake Haener, who was suspended, finally came back, was not the answer, and Taysom Hill's not a quarterback. So Jameis' position as a backup was solidified. He wasn't going anywhere. The Saints were not going to give this guy up, and they know Derek Carr, because they got the medicals. They don't tell us everything. They said, "Oh, Derek Carr is fine," and all this kind of stuff. And remember, he was still a couple of weeks removed before he came up off the injury list. And I'm like, fam, do y'all see this? Derek Carr's not even listed on the injury list, and we know he's hurt, but they didn't list him. And now he's saying his arm is fine because he said it was a arm issue and he had a concussion. But his arm is fine and he's under concussion control. And this is more of the same nonsense, man. We know Carr was suffering this for the majority of his time since he got hurt in the Green Bay game, because his passes were up and down. He was throwing the ball in the ground. His passes were sailing over people's heads, and that's right after that, you could see that he didn't have any accuracy in those games where the ball was just all over the place because they shot him with painkiller. And then when people hit him, you seen he was in pain. When a guy tapped him under his ribs, he bent over in pain. He had bruised ribs and all this kind of stuff. And they telling you that he's fine. That's BS. But I digress. That's why Jameis Winston didn't go anywhere. That's why they didn't trade him, because Carr was pretty much banged up for this entire season after that Green Bay contest. He's hurt, and I've been saying it, that he's a lot more hurt than what they're willing to let on for. But they won't play to that end because the $150 million say you got to play. So we'll shoot you up with this painkiller and send your ass out there. So that's what I think. Jameis Winston never got traded, you know what I'm saying? But it is what it is. All right. So anyway, fam, with that being said, let me get ready to get out on that, man. Listen, I appreciate y'all for chiming in, man. It's almost 1:00 in the morning. I know you guys have some stuff to do. I know tomorrow I got some stuff that tomorrow we'll return for the Patreon. Shout out to our Patreon champions and our YouTube membership families for your contributions to the platform. We're doing a lot of really positive stuff, man. The whothatdaily.com, our contributors there, we writing consistently writing articles and content every day. Our several other platforms, the Pelican Post Game Report, Ring Kings Boxing, and Tough Tiger Talk are all doing fairly well. And we continue to turn out a ton of content. We have audio streams it's, all over the place as well. So the Sports Coma is doing this thing, man. And it's all because of the loving support of you guys. So we'll return tomorrow for our Patreon Tuesday. And we'll talk to the family. We'll do some work, cover some interviews and go over some more stuff. And we'll also do some film work too tomorrow. So be looking forward to that. All right. So anyway, with that being said, I'm going to get out on that. Listen, I appreciate each and every last one of y'all for chiming in. Much love to the fam. Who that? We're going to get through this thing, family. It's going to be a long process, but look, we're going to be here together. So much love to you guys. Who that? And I'm
Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Long as I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. Sports Coma, yeah, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Sports Coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Somebody please better help. Running this thing like Elf. I thank God every day I'm not a felt. Go to YouTube Live with Big Q and the guys. If you ain't ride or die, the bandwagon get flipped. Been marching in, that was way for the ring. I was yelling out your shame for the championship. Bucking on town, duck down. Falcons, pluck, get shut down. Panthers ain't much touchdown. The vision really belong to us now. So much hate on the Saints, you could probably tell. Ever since Bounty Gate hit the NFL, when things seem fishy and you probably smell the crooked referees or Roger Goodell. Fucking like this and I'm a who that. Every day I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. It's the Sports Coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. It's the Sports Coma, this is where we do that.
You're listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys on the PRO Media Network.
whothatdaily.com. That's right, the whothatdaily.com. Your one-stop shop for everything New Orleans Saints, New Orleans Pelican, LSU Tigers, and even the top flight boxing news. So if you're a Who That and you're looking for a place to stay up on your team, whothatdaily.com is your site. The whothatdaily.com for the sport Who That in all of us. That's right, the Pro Shop is the platform store where you can go and buy all the latest merch to support the platform. Available at the Pro Shops, we have dozens of hundreds of products available for you and your family. Unisex tees for men and women, hoodies and sweatshirts, tank tops, kids and baby items, long sleeve tees, mugs, pillows, wall art, bath bedding, face masks, phone cases, stickers, bags, fanny packs,